Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst who founded analytical psychology. He is known for his exploration of the human psyche and the development of concepts such as the collective unconscious, archetypes, and individuation. While Jung's work primarily focused on psychology, concepts such as the collective unconscious, archetypes, and individuation. While Jung's work primarily focused on psychology, it contains valuable insights that can be applied to life in general. Here are 10 life lessons inspired by Carl Jung's ideas. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. Loneliness does not come from having no people about one, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself, or from holding certain views which others find inadmissible. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. Man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health. The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. The pendulum of the mind oscillates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol, morphine, or idealism. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. As a child, I felt myself to be alone, and I am still, because I know things and must hint at things which others apparently know nothing of, and for the most part do not want to know. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. There's no coming to consciousness without pain. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own souls. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Show me a sane man, and I will cure him for you. In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. Mistakes are, after all, the foundations of truth, and if a man does not know what a thing is, it is at least an increase in knowledge if he knows what it is not. Thinking is difficult, that's why most people judge. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light of meaning in the darkness of mere being. Whatever is rejected from the self appears in the world as an event. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. How can I be substantial if I do not cast a shadow? I must have a dark side also if I am to be whole. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. Do not compare, do not measure. No other way is like yours. All other ways deceive and tempt you. You must fulfill the way that is in you. The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. The foundation of all mental illness is the unwillingness to experience legitimate suffering. The difference between a good life and a bad life is how well you walk through the fire. Life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. Be grateful for your difficulties and challenges, for they hold blessings. In fact, man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health, personal growth, individuation, and self-actualization. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. We don't so much solve our problems as we outgrow them. We add capacities and experiences that eventually make us bigger than the problems. We don't really heal anything, we simply let it go. Carl Jung. We don't really heal anything, we simply let it go. You always become the thing you fight the most. To be normal is the ultimate aim of the unsuccessful. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. The debt we owe to the play of imagination is incalculable. Knowledge rests not upon truth alone, but upon error also. It contains valuable insights that can be applied to life in general. Here are 10 life lessons inspired by Carl Jung's ideas. It all depends on how we look at things, and not how they are in themselves. Carl Jung. Great talents are the most lovely, and often the most dangerous fruits on the tree of humanity. They hang upon the most slender twigs that are easily snapped off. Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, love is lacking. The one is the shadow of the other. The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. The rational attitude which permits us to declare objective values as valid at all is not the work of the individual subject, but the product of human history. Nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on their environment, and especially on their children, than the unlived life of the parent. The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. It contains valuable insights that can be applied to life in general. Here are 10 life lessons inspired by Carl Jung's ideas. To ask the right question is already half the solution of a problem. To me, dreams are part of nature, which harbors no intention to deceive, but expresses something as best it can. The capacity for directed thinking call intellect. The capacity for passive or undirected thinking call intellectual intuition. Sometimes, indeed, there is such a discrepancy between the genius and his human qualities that one has to ask oneself whether a little less talent might not have been better. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves. Creative powers can just as easily turn out to be destructive. It rests solely with the moral personality, whether they apply themselves to good things or to bad. And if this is lacking, no teacher can supply it or take its place. That which compels us to create a substitute for ourselves is not the external lack of objects, but our incapacity to lovingly include a thing outside of ourselves. To me, dreams are part of nature, which harbors no intention to deceive, but expresses something as best it can. A special ability means a heavy expenditure of energy in a particular direction, with the consequent drain from some other side of life.
Like, share, subscribe.
Thank you.